Yeah, something like that. Not sure. Well, welcome. This is indeed going to be a very interesting evening. I know enough to know that there are some commonalities and there are also some significant differences, so it will be interesting to see how all this plays out. This is an iterative process, and we're all going to be learning along the way, and we know it's a struggle. I want to say just a couple things about how the evening's going to run, and then David will want to say some things about some assumptions on the process we've been going through. We're going to as soon as we get started, people can go get sandwiches and get some food, and this is going to be an eat, and you're down there, I think, assigned seating. Because we're not going to like stop for a meal, we're going to just eat along the way because we've got a lot of stuff to go over, and I don't think anybody's going to mind doing that. Right? Okay. I have one question to ask of you all. We have 5 presentations. I don't anticipate each one's going to take 30 minutes, but if possible. If I will time, it's going to go past that, we're going to cut it off a little bit. My big question is, do you want to have dialogue after each of the presentations, or wait and go through all of them and then have a conversation? Anybody have any feelings on that? Laurel?
There would be some benefit to being able to have some dialogue right after some of the presentation, just in case something comes up and there's some variety and differences that maybe would need to be discussed.
You might want to time box that out.
Yeah, I will. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think that's a way to do it.
I'm not wanting it to go, ultra long.
Perhaps clarification or a specific question relative to that presentation, but the robust dialogue might happen at the end, but we can compare and see where overlaps are.
Clarification would be good. Clarification kind of question. All right, I'll put some, Ryan?
Well, kind of a question. I assume that the purpose of this process is to sort of all of us present ideas and then collaborate as to one final solution rather than sort of jockey or compete to have sort of the best presentation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
We're going to compete on that.
but I mean, it seems like there's an opportunity to sort of build one after another, to have a little dialogue after each, and then build off of that and reflect back each time.
Yes, the right word is iterative. So, this is not competition. This is not who they did better than that. This is not about that.
I think the thing that we'll see, of course, is where there's convergence, where there's overlap, and where there's some sort of disparity of understanding. Those will be very interesting to It's not like we're going to sit here and make a chimera by taking a little bit of each of these animals and making a mission statement. The idea is to find out, what the path is by having each of you provide a view. We'll get some parallaxes, we'll get some sense of perspective, and then we'll take the next step.
Is the goal for this evening, though, to end with a path? Or is that path going to happen over the course of the next month?
I'm going to give you my answer, and then David may have another answer. I think there's going to be enough content that we're going to have to make some choices among the content and the path. It'd be nice if there was a consensus. I don't know if there will be a consensus or not. So if we can reach that, terrific. If we can't reach that, then I think Dave and I are going to have to make some judgment calls on it and present that back to you all. I don't know what the next time frame is because I'm not quite sure. We're going to need some weeks in between now and whenever we start with whatever it is that we start with.
We understand that wherever we begin in this, whatever we assume will be part of an iterative process and try to perfect and improve going forward. But I think it's also very important that we don't start in a false direction and overly invest in something we're going to have to undo. So I think it's better to get it right than simply to get it going in this case. But I think there was also the aspect that we have to keep moving forward and improve as we move forward. So if we can't reach a sense of what the essence is here, we will have to make some proposals to you and get feedback and get that. If we can get some consensus, then we can get some rough outlines about where the journey is going to lead and create an assignment on the basis of that as a follow-up. Which gets me to my part, the
Your Honor.
remarks. which is simply to recognize how difficult this is and how difficult I've heard from a number of you that this process is, because it is so open and because it relies so much upon you're trying to think through the very barriers to thinking. I just want to take a moment and say my son, my 18-year-old, is going off to college next year, and he has his freshman seminar courses in front of him, 21 of them, possibilities. He has to pick his top 6. And we read through them last night, and it was really interesting. They had things like war and being, study of Vietnam, images of Vietnam, books about Vietnam, movies about Vietnam. I'm thinking, why are we talking about the Middle East? Why are they talking about Vietnam? And then there's things like communication identity, reading lists of things like Faulkner and Frankenstein and Sophocles. I'm thinking like the world has moved beyond these books. I mean, I think the great books are important, but the problem is that knowledge making is a matter of conservation. And so people who are custodians of knowledge tend to hold on to the knowledge they have. They tend to hoard it. And they have their power and authority through the knowledge that they've gained. It's really an interesting thing, because what we're trying to do here is make something new. And our bet is that whatever new happens is because something that is resident inside of you rather than in a book per se, and that books and the artifacts and experiences and interactions can begin to coax that out of you. But it's not to say that we're always familiar with ourselves as makers of new knowledge. And I think why you're sitting around this table and why you were selected is because in the spheres in which you've operated successfully, you've had to be agile, you've had to be cognizant of your environment, you've had to adapt and always reposition yourself to meet the challenges of the future. A future which is sometimes, always, hidden to a great extent, but at the same time is with us every day in ways that we don't always recognize. So the challenge here is really to say, how do we get at a new way of thinking about what we do to produce a powerful tool that we can use and others can use in order to create a more purposeful enterprise, both within what we're doing, but also in other areas that may be contiguous to it, but may lie wholly outside. So rather than being receivers of wisdom, the idea is to become makers of wisdom, and that is a remarkably difficult thing to do, as you all know, because it's what you do every day. So, but I think, don't be cowed by the fact that this is college, that you're in a college, or that you're in a master's program. Understand that the purpose is to really question as much as it is to answer. And by questioning, you'll find answers and you'll find a path forward. You are the pioneers. And I know this is a difficult struggle. And I really appreciate your bearing with us in this grand experiment to try to achieve something that hasn't been achieved before. There's no time in which the students have ever been asked to create the curriculum that they would learn. It just doesn't happen. So you're the first. Congratulations. Welcome to the panel.
That talk has been carefully recorded and will be uploaded this Friday on Saturday. I do want to make you aware what Casey's going to do. Casey's back there. She's the person here at Kindle. She chairs the digital area, and she's going to provide one link and a channel that all of the tapes, all the videos will be available with just one password and one link. And that should be accomplished this Friday, and this will be on there too. So there will be reference capability.
So you don't have to do that through your link,
Sure.
through a channel.
Questions of David or me, or comments you want to make before we sort of get to it?
I just have one comment on the point about being different. And I think that, at least in the conversations that I've had with Christian and I about differentiation, and in looking at a bunch of different programs that are in the same space, they're all the same.
Exactly.
And I'm interested to see the thoughts that are here, and I'll publicly say that I was a complete fail on this assignment with my team. They did all the work, I did nothing, because I could not free myself from other commitments to get this done. So I publicly will lash myself for that. But I'm interested to hear about, like, okay, well, what's different about that than what's going on at RISD's Masters of Blah program, or at Art Center's Masters of XYZ program, because there's a lot of the sameness out there that if you reflect on just, I know the people in the room, most of our careers kind of been there, done that already,
Exactly.
on all of the stuff that is covered in those programs.
Yep.
And personally, that's been a challenge for me to even be involved in any kind of post-degree pursuit. Is, well, I did that when I was 28 years old. Why am I going to pay somebody to give me a receipt that says that I did that when I'm 45 now?
If this is worth anything to you, that opportunity is what excites me to be involved with this. I do have a master's degree. I got it at Cranbrook. One of the things that appealed to me about Cranbrook is I established my own curriculum. And I like that. And I know those other programs you're talking about, and there is an awful lot of same old. My hope is that inherent in each of you is interesting talent, inquiry, capabilities that will allow us collectively then to develop something quite new that is our own self-generating kind of curriculum. That for me was very powerful 18 years ago. I got very excited about it when David first said to me when I outlined stuff, oh, way too structured. You know, that this is where I think the excitement goes. Where that's going to go, I have no clue right now, but I think we'll get a better clue after time. That said, let's get some food. I didn't have lunch, so I'm certainly hungry. And let's get ready to have, and I see no reason not to just go around the room, have team number one get ready to give your presentation. You okay with that? You'll have to eat after. I think you can handle it. So if you want to set up whatever's needed, what you're using, Keynote, your own laptop, PowerPoint, whatever, people here to help with that. The rest of us, this would be the time to grab some food.